to discuss the rise in extortion syndicates, which some security experts say threatens to cripple our economy, we're joined by Abahlali baseMjondolo activist Thapelo Mohapi, Isishoshovu somphakathi community activist Dr. Phumla Matshaya, as well as Khayelitsha Community Policing Forum Chairperson Monde Bambelo. Good evening to the three of you. Thank you very much for joining us on The Full View. So ever since the news broke that certain schools in the Eastern Cape had to close because of the extortion gangs, we've been speaking to all stakeholders in an effort to understand how we got here and what can be done to arrest this conduct, which is said to be a threat to our very sovereignty, where we're going to have a situation where gangs are running a parallel state. Perhaps let's start with you, Dr. Phumla, as an activist in Tata. Just talk us through the modus operandi of these extortion gangs that we keep hearing of.
Good evening, South Africa. This is quite interesting because right now where we are, I feel that the police and any other relevant stakeholders should be taking action. We should not be running back and forward. For instance, the king 2 days back took control, played his role as a custodian owner of that particular land. He went to address his people. There's two sides to the coin. There's Marege, who is so adamant and confident and believing strongly in what he believes in. There is the king, who is known, who is a legal entity that is supposed to defend the people. Right now, Marege is saying there are no people that he has asked for protection fee from. It is not him who has to say that. The intelligence that has been collected, there are people who claim to be victims of his actions. And therefore, we should not be saying now Marege is saying this and the king is saying that. This has long been going on. What is expected now?
But most certainly, though, he's entitled to reply to some of those allegations. So I suppose it is important that his voice is also inserted in this whole conversation because there are allegations, serious allegations against him. But the community as well, beyond him denying any involvement in some sort of extortion syndicate, you saw the community members there also denying that there's some sort of protection fee that has to be paid by certain people in their community. So what exactly is going on here?
You do have a situation of playing divide and rule in such a situation. You do go and rent a crowd so that you stand firm on what you believe in. He believes in what he believes in. The community and the people on the ground and the citizens of South Africa feel that they are not safe. There is no safety and security for them. So if we can take the clips that Marege has been coming up front, cutting edge, he interviewed him. Recently, the king was there 2 days back. He came out firm and strongly insinuating a threat to the community, saying they have to take out 100 rands if they do not comply to that within 14 days. Therefore, the community is bound to be scared. They don't know what is going to happen. We are not at the point of saying Marege is saying this is confident. He's challenging. So we cannot Marege win. Marege will win because he knows his story. It is at the point now where the police have to prove who they are. The people continue to send messages, and it has gone to a point where it has escalated to domestic gender-based violence. Mind you, there are single parents. There are women, there are children involved here. People that get to come out front because they can see the power and the position Marege is operating from them. Now it is for the police to come up front to protect the community. Time for talking is out. Marege is not afraid. He is going out front with his army to challenge them. Now
you say, Dr. Pardon me for interjecting there. I want to rope in Abahlali baseMjondolo, but before I do, I just want to pose one question to you around you saying that time for talking is up. But we had a traditional leader in the form of King Khaya Dalindyebo being roped in to speak to community members. In that instance, of course, many know the role of traditional authority is very important in addressing any form of discord in a community. But in this instance, some are wondering, are they not setting up the king for failure here? That this case is far too serious, and with the limited resources, it would be difficult for him to address this matter. It needs the police to come in with the capacity.
Thank you very much. King Dalindyebo is the custodian owner of that area. Even if the system may try to set him for failure, he is who he is. He took a voluntary move when the people are crying, as disarmed as he is. He took up arms. He took up arms of speech to go and reassure the people that I am with you. I am not going to be undermined by somebody who has nominated and put himself here.
Thapelo, let's rope you in.
No way that people will not have confidence in him. He has done his role. He has played his role. The community and the sober people are hailing him up. We are waiting for the police now to take action to protect the citizens.
Thapelo, let's rope you in here. As Abahlali baseMjondolo, your focus is at a township level as well. In the cities, we hear of nightclubs and restaurants having to pay these protection fees, but at a township level, we understand that spaza shops now have to also pay as well. How rife is the extortion syndicate in the townships of KwaZulu-Natal?
Thank you very much. Good evening to the viewers. This is a grave concern, particularly the fact that it's not the first time. It has been there for a while. The police have been aware of it. And it's now manifesting itself in the manner that it does. We know of spaza shops that have been paying 1,500 rand a month to certain individuals for protection fee. And these are the people, if you refuse to pay this protection fee, they are very violent, they will attack you, and they create this situation of a crime in every area so that you pay the protection fee. So if they are both criminals who actually go out and rob the spaza shop and demand protection fee for protection from them. So they create the need for safety in the community because they turn around and be the ones who commit these crimes in the spaza shop. And many shops had to close down. If you fail to actually pay them and you voluntarily want to close down, these people are very organized that they will buy the products for you to sell on their behalf, and they come and collect, and now you become their employer and they pay you a certain amount of money. So this is an organized thing that has been reported to the police. It has been there. It is
and what has been the response of the police? Pardon me for interjecting there, but what has been the response of the police in all of this?
Well, there hasn't been any response that is effective in dealing with this particular issue because it's well organized. These are not ordinary people in our society. These are people who are well known. These are people who have some influence in the community, some stature in the community. These are not just criminals that you come across in the streets, but these are people who are, people who have some stature in society. And it's very difficult for some of the members of the community to go and report such incidences. But when these incidences are reported, police have not responded. We are in this situation because had police responded when this whole thing started back in 2017, I think we would not be in the situation we are. Now this has become rampant, escalated in the informal settlement and in the township to an extent that people who are building some houses to actually try and get some income, and these people will say or if you have 4 houses, 2 houses rent from your own house, your own land belongs to them, and you are now sharing the profit, failing which they will rob the people who live there, who are coming closer to be able to work and create a sense that there's criminal activity that is taking place in the community.
Thapelo, you touch on the fact that this started off in 2017. And in 2017, we were still reporting of a construction mafia before it morphed into all sorts of extortion in different industries. But back then, there was also a conversation that was inserted that they're not construction mafia. Some of them are saying they're business forums. I remember Dela Ngogbona. They said they had rebranded. They were no longer a construction mafia, but a business forum that would legitimately seek maybe 30% of a project. That what they felt was happening here was that you have certain people who are awarded contracts come into communities and don't empower the community. So they were saying they represent the interests of those communities, whether they were hijacking the communities, one doesn't know. But what are your views around that? Because even Mam Kize, who is a businesswoman in the construction space right now, has come out to say that those who refer to them as construction mafias are ill-informed, that in most cases here, these are business forums with legitimate requests.
Well, in all cases, I must say that as Abahlali baseMjondolo, we became aware of this in 2017. It may have started way back. But the issue is even those who are demanding protection fees are doing it in the name of the community. They say that they're preventing crime, they're preventing robbery, whereas in fact in some instances they are the ones who are causing crime, so that there's a need for a protection fee or for them to protect the community. And as far as the construction mafias, these are thugs, these are mafias who want to render the city ungovernable. There is nothing that goes into the community. I mean, in some instances, when you start building your house, you have people who will come and say, I mean, you hired an individual in the community and they will come and demand 30%. I mean, how do you demand 30% from an individual who's building his own house? So it's pure crime, it's pure thuggery, it's pure mafia style that has been led to actually come out and manifest itself in the manner that it has.
Monde, you're chair of the Community Policing Forum in your community in the Western Cape. How have you been coping? Because the City of Cape Town's MMC for Safety and Security, JP Smith, has spoken on several platforms about the need for some sort of greater collaboration from all spheres of government to ensure that more resources are allocated to this fight. How have you as CPF been coping?
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening to your viewers. To be quite frank, at this stage, we are fighting a losing battle. Because from my understanding is that we gave these guys enough level to actually organize themselves to a point whereby it's difficult to even identify, as Dr. Phumla has articulated, it's even difficult to identify who is the extortion. The question I normally ask people, who is the extortion? The extortion, to be quite honest, is it could be the chairperson of CPF. The extortion could be the ward development forum. The extortion could be any development forum in the structure. It could be the councillor, the ward councillor. Now, when you try under these circumstances in Khayelitsha particular, for us, what we are trying to do is to conscientize the society and try them to make them understand the level of discomfort or unsafe, how unsafe we feel at this moment, because it seems like even them, the people who are doing these type of crimes, they are not aware how they disadvantage us in terms of development, in terms of service delivery, in terms of a lot of other things. They are depriving us to health, and they are not even aware of their actions, that they are setting us backwards instead of moving forward. So now we are trying to conscientize the community, also to conscientize even themselves, the doers of these crimes.
But if you're going to conscientize community members, they're still helpless because they fear these individuals. So you let them know that an extortionist could be your community leader, it could be your councillor, it could be a chairperson of the CPF. But then once they know that, what do they do?
Look, what we've been crying for in the past is when safety structures are working in silos. We are requesting SABC, we are requesting any safety structure. They must work together. It seems.
All right, I think we've lost Monde. Doctor, just to close off with you here, there's been a call that perhaps we need to see government correctly characterizing what we're seeing here, that this is in fact a threat to security, our security as a sovereign state. Do you think that if we correctly characterize this and not call it some fluffy names, be it a business forum, extortioners, but really see it for what it is, which is a significant threat to our sovereignty, where we're going to have a parallel state where people are paying some sort of tax to the underworld? Do you think if we characterize it accordingly, we're going to see more resources being put to this fight?
I think already it's a waste of time. We've been talking and talking, and we've collected enough intelligence for intelligence of the country. And I feel the citizens are left out on their own. I don't care what names we can call it, how we can romanticize it, but people on the ground are sick and tired. It's going from one area to the next. There's a mismatch. You can't even differentiate between a high-density suburb and low-density suburb. You don't even know whether your neighbor is a pedophile. It's a mismatch because people just got in to grab homes. The government must take action because it says the people shall govern. Once people get fed up and tired because they feel the pinch, it's going to be very bad. They must act. They must not have big names and because big names, yet they don't operate like that. I give a lot of respect to King Dalindyebo without resources, but he knows who he is. He went out to defend and give a word of confidence to him. The government must take action. The police must not allow blue-collar criminals to be all over and undermined. It's not a question of now, it's a question of action. If we don't have police department, then we must move to ask for protection from the soldiers. Then we should know we're on our own. Women and children are victims. I don't even want to get to the situation of spaza shop and foreign nationals. That is a story for another day because it's like a poison in our communities. It does not only start from there, it goes on to drugs. Something has to be taken without calling this situation romantic names, extortion. People are in trouble on the ground. They are not feeling safe.
Doctor, it's honestly very concerning, but at least as the media, we're going to continue to give the story the prominence it deserves in our bulletins until something is done. Thank you very much, panel members, for joining us. That's Abahlali baseMjondolo activist Thapelo Mohapi, Isishoshovu somphakathi community activist Dr. Phumla Matshaya, as well as Khayelitsha Community Policing Forum Chairperson Monde Bambelo, speaking to us on the extortion syndicates that are on the rise in several parts of the country.